Oh, Namaste. Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. Venkatanathāryaya Namaha. Sarvebhyo Sajjanebhyo Namaha. We'll have some further fun with Sri Vedantacharya Chakkilam Venkatesh's attempts to find faults with Ramanuja's interpretation of the Bhagavad-gIta. It seems that we'll have ample opportunity because Sri Chakkilam Venkatesh has declared that he will make 100 videos revealing his ignorance about not only Vedanta, though he calls himself a Vedantacharya, but also about the Sanskrit language and the English language. We'll see how. Now, his point in disputation for this video happens to be Bhagavad-gIta 2.24. And the verse is like this. Achedyoyam adahyoyam akledyo shoshya evacha nityas sarvagata sthANur achaloyam sanatanaha. Okay, so the meaning is straightforward. Ayam here refers to Atma. That much everyone agrees. I agree with Chakkilam Venkatesh and with Shankaracharya that Ayam here refers to Atma. It says that Atma cannot be cut, cannot be burned, cannot be drowned, and so on, so on, so on. The thing which seems to confuse Sri Chakkilam Venkatesh is that is the word sarvagata. Now, by sarvagata, it means that something which goes everywhere. Sarvagata, sarvagata, something which goes everywhere, right? Gam means motion, going. It is so obvious. But what he says is that sarvagata means it is identical to everything. How absurd! It is obvious. Sarvagata, it goes everywhere. And you see what he says. He says, okay, let us see. The self is all pervading. Okay. He starts off by taking a sort of appropriate meaning. The self is all pervading. It goes everywhere. That's the literal meaning of this thing. The self is all pervading. Now, what does pervading mean? Let us look at a dictionary, any dictionary. I will Google it. Pervade. Okay, let us see. Spread through and be perceived in every part of something. All right. So, what spreads through everything? Akasha spreads through everything, yes, but Akasha is not being referred to here because it's an insentient thing, and we are referring to Atma, right? So Atma is all pervasive, as we saw in the last episode. This is declared by the Shruti itself. Not just Brahma is all pervading, Atma is all pervading, and according to these people, Chakkilam Venkatesh and his predecessors, Avidya and Maya are also all pervading. But let us see. The thing about Atma being all pervasive was already revealed by Chandogya Upanishad. Anena jivena atmana anupravishya namarupe vyakaravani. Everything which has name and form is pervaded by Jiva, which is pervaded by Ishvara. And so what does this tell us? This all pervasion doesn't mean identity at all. I mean, you look at the thing here. Pervade, spread through and be perceived in every part of something. Alright? Be present and apparent throughout. Does it mean by any chance, by any angle, that whatever is pervaded is identical to what is pervaded? You look at this example here. A smell of stale cabbage pervaded the air. Does it mean that the smell of stale cabbage is equal to the air, is identical to the air? No, it does not. But let us look at what Sri Vedantacharya Chakkilam Venkatesh says. He objects to the fact that the self is all pervasive. Ramanuja accepts that the self is all pervasive. He agrees with that, but interprets only like space filling up the pot. He does not allow identity between the pervader and the pervaded. Why does he say that? I mean, it's not the dictionary meaning of sarvagata, which is the original word, going everywhere, moving everywhere. pervading everything. It's not even the meaning of pervading everything. Forget sarvagata. It's not even the meaning of pervading everything. And he objects to this obvious interpretation by saying that it is some sort of twisting of the words in the shloka, which is not. It is the natural meaning of sarvagata, going everywhere. He claims that the Adi Shankaracharya says that he implies that Adi Shankaracharya agrees that it is this pervasion means identity, sarvagata means identity. Well, we have so far shown that Sri Chakkilam Venkatesh doesn't properly understand. See, dictionary meaning of all pervasion. I showed you the dictionary meaning of pervasion and all pervasion. It doesn't mean identity at all. So what Chakkilam Venkatesh, Sri Vedanta Acharya Chakkilam Venkatesh has proved is that he doesn't understand English. He doesn't know how to look at a dictionary. Because I showed you the dictionary doesn't say that pervasion means identity, and all pervasion does not mean identity at all. And further, we have so far implicitly understood that he doesn't understand Sanskrit. Sarvagata, going everywhere, pervading everything. He doesn't understand that sarvagata does not mean identity. Okay, now let us go further and see what other funny things he makes. Okay, so he claims that Ramanuja's fundamental problem begins with pAncharatra theology. So he claims that Ramanuja, being influenced by pAncharatra theology, twists bhagavad-gItA to suit pAncharatra theology and not the other way around. Okay, now in this we additionally deduce the fact that Sri Chakkilam Venkatesh has not understood or has not read through Ramanuja's works at all, because Ramanuja never once in Sri Bhashyam or Gita Bhashyam refers to pAncharatra as a evidence to make his points at all. Now, from the perspective of Ramanuja, what is the evidence he brings up to make his point? He brings up Shruti, then he brings up Smriti, then he brings up Itihasas, then he brings up Puranas, never Agamas, never Divya Prabandhas. So, with this claim that Ramanuja is influenced by pAncharatra, he brings in pAncharatra theology and twists Bhagavad-gIta to suit pAncharatra, it is entirely false. First of all, he himself doesn't read Ramanuja's works properly. Otherwise, he wouldn't have said such a thing. Then he, by making this claim on his very popular YouTube channel, he misleads millions. I don't know, not millions. I don't know how many people look at this. Maybe thousands. So he misleads thousands of people by with such false claims. So I hear that Sri Vedanta Acharya Chakkilam Venkatesh was born in the first Varna, which is the Brahmana Varna, one of the foremost tenets of which is adherence to Samanya Dharma, which specially includes Satya. Forgetting what rituals he follows or what other practices he has to follow but isn't following, forget all that. At least he should speak the truth, which is appropriate for his supposed Varna. And by claiming something which is not attributable to Ramanuja, it is not a simple mistake. It is a deliberate misleading of lot of people. It is lying. It is not appropriate for a Brahmana. That's all one can say. Now, okay. So he says he's confused by sthANu next. Now, sthANu means immobile. And in this, it is followed by achala. sthAnuhu achalaha sanatanaha. That's what it says. Atma is sthANu. sthANu means stationary, like a stambha. So what does stationary mean? It means it is One thing is it cannot move in space and time, right? So that is one meaning. Agreed. But is it the meaning intended here? Because the same Mahabharata, the same Vedas for that matter, and even Brahma Sutras, they clearly say that Atma moves in the Archiradhi Marga when it is bound for liberation. And when one says you attain Swarga, what does it mean? Does it mean that you who attains Swarga, you go to Swarga? It means that your Atma doesn't go to Swarga, it remains same, but you imagine that you go to Swarga. How bizarre and twisted it is, right? So Bhagavad-gIta occurs in the context of going to Swarga, not going to Swarga, going to liberation, and so on. So in that context, how can sthANu mean utterly stationary? Of course, the Atma is said to move. That is Krishna's point of view. You can verify it with Mahabharata or with Archiradi Adhikarana of Brahma Sutras, or with the source statements in the Upanishads. You don't have to touch pAncharAtra as Sri Vedantacharya Chakkilam Venkatesh claims. You can just deduce it by yourself. If someone is said to go to Swarga and go to Naraka, it means that the Atma moves. And there are a lot of Shruti statements which support this. Chandogya Upanishad itself says that Atma goes through Archiradi Marga. And even Brahma Sutra has a special adhikarana for it, Archiradi Adhikarana. And Mahabharata has plenty of instances. So, sthANu here means it is immobile. You can't, if you hit me, you can't move my Atma, right? Atma remains in around this region. That's it. If I move, of course Atma moves. So that's not what is meant by sthANu. Now, this is a point of sad confusion of Mr. Chakkilam Venkatesh. Even I would say Shankara would admit this. Because in the Vyavaharika Satta, Atma is said to go to Swarga, it's said to go to Naraka in a Sukshma Sharira. All that is clear itself. However, Sri Chakkilam Venkatesh here is not understanding the perspective of rAmAnuja, which is natural and valid for the context of the verse. What else? So, he claims that rAmAnuja bends Gita away from Advaita and Jagadguru, Shankaracharya, etc., etc. Okay. So, as I've shown, Sri Chakkilam Venkatesh doesn't understand English properly, because he claims the dictionary meaning is something which it is not. Pervasion doesn't mean identity, and we have shown that he doesn't understand this Sanskrit also. He doesn't understand what sarvagata means. He doesn't understand the gam dhatu in sarvagata, and he doesn't understand also that sthANu, while meaning stationary, it doesn't mean that the Atman is absolutely stationary, given plenty of statements in higher pramanas such as Shruti and Smriti. I hope all this is clear. Please excuse any errors and please inform me of them. Thank you very much. Namaste.